As you can see, Wilbur is a bit of a puller, just a little bit. So if your dog is pulling you down the street just like that, I'm about to show you in this video exactly how we're going to fix it. So for me, there are two things that every single dog should learn when it comes to being on a lead. The first thing is where they should be, and the second thing is where they shouldn't be. Now, ideally, in best case scenarios where we've got a young dog or a puppy, I would teach them where I want them to be first. But in a case like Wilbur, with a dog that's been pulling for months, if not years and years, like this dog has, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna skip the first one and I'm gonna go straight to the second one, which is showing them where they shouldn't be. So you can do this whichever way around you wanna do it, but like I say, in cases where the dogs are really extremely pulling, I would skip to the second part, show them where they shouldn't be first, and then rein it back to show them where they should be. This is largely due to the fact that if your dog is really pulling, they would have already built a really bad habit around pulling, and actually it's far better to just curb that habit immediately and then start forming a better one, rather than starting to form a better one first, because otherwise that bad habit's still going to be there and you're going to keep going back and forth with it. So as you can see from the start of the video, his pulling was pretty extreme. So what I'm going to do now is I am just going to show him that actually there is a place on the lead that I don't want him to get to, and that is at the end of it. So for this, I am going to use a slip lead. He has been on a slip lead before. He actually turned up to me with a slip lead on, and actually the slip lead wasn't doing much. He was still pulling and he was still strangling himself. We're not going to let him strangle himself today. But what we are going to do is show him that getting to the end of this is not going to be a very good idea. It's not going to get him to where he wants to go. And I'm going to show you exactly how I do that right now. So what we're going to do is we're going to walk together forwards, and then the second he gets to the end, I'm going to pop the lead like that. And I'm going to do it again. I'm going to keep doing that. And every single time he accelerates forward like that and gets to the end of the lead, he's just going to meet a little pop at the end of the lead. So this is really important to remember when you're doing this. You can already see an immediate change. He's actually staying by my side, which is great because it's going to lead on to the next part where I'm going to start feeding him for being in this place, in the place where I want him to be. But what I want you guys to remember is that when you're giving that pop, it's all about timing. So what I'm doing there is I'm waiting for him to get out and not waiting for him to get to the end of the lead before I pop. It's just before he hits the end. So you don't want to wait for that lead to be tight, because if you give that pop, it's just not going to do anything. You want to wait until your lead is maybe just about this taut here. So if the lead's nice and loose like this and we go up, so there, just a little bit of a pop just before they get to that full extent, because if they are at the very end, they're going to be leaning in, they're going to be pulling in, and this isn't going to work very well. Because what that's done right there is give him some immediate feedback and information to say, when you get to the end of the lead, it's not a very good idea, and actually you're not going to get any further. Because in so many cases of pulling, what happens, the dog feels all that pressure, they feel all that pulling, and actually all of that pressure leads to is the dog moving forward. So what we're trying to do here is really show the dog that if you want to move forward, you're going to move forward with a loose lead and by my side. But if you try to move forward without me and you're about to hit the end of the lead, you're going to hit a fairly significant roadblock and you're not going to be able to get any further forward. Anytime he gets in front of me, I'm just going to draw back and pop that lead. Oh, look now, he's already paying attention. It should get to this point where it's actually really hard for you to get away from them. When you turn, they'll start turning with you. Good boy. And again, like that. And if you stop like this, they should start following back. And at that point, that's when you start going in heavy with rewards. This is where the magic really starts to happen, where we're going to start rewarding for being in that position. Good lad. Good lad. There we go. Good. Lovely boy. Beautiful walking. And this is where I'm going to start just really shaping this position now. So this is the place that you should be. This is the place where all the magic happens. This is where the money is. And if you ever try to go over there, out in front, out to the side, out to the left, or dragging behind me, you're going to get that really short, sharp interruption on the lead. You're not going to get to where you want to go. And depending on how severe your dog is, you just really want to take your time with this process. But once you get to this point, it's the fun part, it's the food part, it's the saying yes and praise and all that kind of stuff. So I'm going to do a little bit of that with him now. Nice. This is really where the magic happens. Like I say, this is all just about rewards, rewards, rewards. Every now and then you can just stop the reward, see what happens. If he gets too far ahead like that, you'll just give him that same pop again. And then you're just really trying to test. Are you understanding what I'm trying to teach you? Are you starting to understand that this is the place to be? And if you don't get any rewards, sometimes if you check out, you still can't get ahead, good boy. That's all you're doing at this point. If they start doing all this kind of stuff, that's absolutely fine. This is all about just having the patience to shape the position a little bit better like this. Good lad. But this is it. So if you have an extreme puller like what he was, sometimes you might just want to go to the second step, which is to just let them know that hitting the end of the lead is not a good thing. It's not going to be very beneficial to you. You're not going to move forwards anymore. And you're definitely not going to pull me while you are attached to this lead. There is never going to be a long build-up of pressure while you're attached to this lead. You are no longer going to choke yourself out. You are no longer going to drag me down the street. If you hit the end of that lead, it's going to be a very short, sharp pop. Very much like if you were to walk into an invisible barrier. That is what's happening to you when you get to the end of the lead. And as soon as you do that, you go to the second point. But if you have a puppy, or if you have a very young dog, or you have a dog that isn't really pulling, but they're starting to pull, you go to the first step first. So you are gonna show them where they're supposed to be first, and you need to spend a long time rewarding your dog for this thing. So being right here by your side, and then if they then start to pull and you start to get to the point where you're just like phasing out rewards, you can just introduce them to the second step. But what that will do is that will stop them from building that as a bad habit. But obviously when you have a dog like this, that habit is already formed. So we're gonna go straight to the second step if the habit is already formed. But if there isn't a bad habit ingrained in the dog, go to the first step. I can't stress that enough. But what you should start seeing is a dramatic improvement in your dog's walking, much like I can see in Mr. Wilbur here. He's looking at me more, he's paying attention, he wants to be by my side more, or in this case in front of me. We'll get him by my side, good boy like that. But what there isn't now is that extreme desire to just get to the end of the lead. So I'm going to do a little bit more work with him on this. I really hope that that has helped you guys out, because what we're going to do now with Wilbur is we're just going to keep rolling with this. We're going to keep moving. We're going to put some distractions in. We're going to add some distance in. And that's exactly what you should be doing with your dog. So let me know how it gets on, and I'll see you in the next video.